Superman and Lois, Season 1, Episode 15, Last Sons of Krypton. This is the Season 1 finale. This episode was directed by Tom Cavanaugh, veteran director and star of the DC CW show The Flash. This episode picks up right where the previous episode leaves off. Jordan is being transformed by Tal-Rho, the Eradicator, into his father, Zeta-Rho, and Superman and Lois are scared and in panic, worrying about where Morgan Edge has taken Jordan and what he could possibly be doing to him. John Henry Irons' AI tells him that it has been unable to locate Jordan Kent or Morgan Edge. The AI asks him if it shall continue searching, and he tells it yes, and don't stop. John Henry Irons looks up and sees a DoD soldier escorting Leslie Lar to a holding cell with kryptonite-laced handcuffs on. She looks at him and says that he is going to fail again. Lois asks Superman where all he has looked for Jordan. He tells Lois he searched Tal-Rho's fortress and his own fortress, plus Morgan Edge's offices and labs and the mines in Smallville. He says to Lois he can't find them, he can't hear them with his super hearing anywhere. Lois asks then where he could be hiding with Jordan. John Henry Irons walks over and tells them both his AI is still searching and so far has found nothing. Superman tells them both that he's going back out to look for both Jordan and Tal-Rho. Irons says he will come with him as well, but Superman says no, to please just stay there in case something else happens. Superman tells Lois that he will find them and he won't stop looking until he does find them. He flies off and Lois just stands there, barely able to keep it together. Irons starts to speak to Lois and he looks up and sees she is gone. He turns around and sees her walking in a very fast, brisk pace towards the building they are at. Back in Smallville, Sarah has returned to the crash site with her parents to help Jonathan and General Lane. Kyle runs up to the crashed vehicle and gets General Lane out of the vehicle. Sarah and Lana check on Jonathan. Jonathan tells Lana that he is okay. Lana runs to get a sling out of the back of their truck for General Lane's hurt arm. Sarah asks Jonathan in a panicked state why Morgan Edge would take Jordan. Jonathan does not know how to answer her because even he doesn't know why he wants Jordan. Back inside the nuclear cooling tower, Jordan, now Zeta-Rho, tells Tal-Rho to go and get started resurrecting the Defense Council of Krypton. Zeta-Rho then flies off for the next part of the plan. Lois enters the DoD building and stops the soldiers who are escorting Leslie Lar and says that she is speaking with Lar. The soldiers give Lois 1 minute to speak with Lar. Lois asks her where Edge took Jordan, and she responds saying she doesn't know. Lar says this world is pretty big, just think of all the places he could be hiding. Lois grabs her and throws her against the wall, yelling at her, saying, "Where is my son?" One of the soldiers starts to step in, but the other one stops him. Leslie Lar says your son is probably long gone by now. Lar continues saying that all you care about is one person when everyone else on this planet is about to die, and she says she is pathetically human. Lois tells Lar that they will find both her son and Tal-Rho. Lar says that what is coming next, even Superman won't be able to stop it. The soldiers move back in towards Lar, and they tell Lois that her time is up, and the soldiers continue escorting her to a kryptonite holding cell. General Lane returns to the DoD Smallville compound with Kyle, Lana, Sarah, and Jonathan, and see that a lot of the townspeople are there and they are angry and demanding answers. Kyle and Lana and Sarah see the crowd of people. Kyle looks at his family and says, "Okay, we can go and leave, or we can stay and help." Lana and Sarah both look at Kyle and tell him that they need to stay and help, and he agrees. Superman is flying through the sky, still frantically searching for his son Jordan. He flies through several different cities across the globe, crossing several different continents with no luck. As he is flying, he tries really hard to listen with his super hearing and block out everything else except the sound of Jordan or Tal-Rho. He flies up into space and circles the globe, still listening. At one point, he stops and hovers over the planet, hearing anything and everything except the sound of his son. Superman then yells at the top of his lungs, as loud and as hard as he can, his son's name, Jordan, and the sound wave of Superman's voice carries across the entire planet. Jordan, who is somewhere on the planet on the edge of a volcano, hears his dad's voice and calls out to him saying, "Dad." Superman hears him and flies down to his location. Back in Smallville at the DoD compound, General Lane tries to quiet the people down so he can speak, but no one does, but Lana gets everyone to shut up long enough so he can speak and let them know exactly what is happening. He speaks to them, saying that he needs everyone to go home and stay there because it isn't safe. The people of Smallville ask him about Metropolis and what they are doing still in Smallville, and Chrissy Beppo reveals to everyone that they are still there because Morgan Edge wasn't caught. General Lane doesn't respond, but his eyes do all the talking. Just then, Morgan Edge shows up in Smallville and hovers above the main street in town. Superman lands and Jordan sees his dad, and they are both relieved to see each other, and they embrace in a tight hug. Superman asks Jordan if he is okay or if he's hurt. Jordan says he thinks he is okay and asks his dad what happened. Superman looks at him and says, "You don't remember?" He tells his dad he remembers that he was in a vehicle accident with Jonathan and Sarah and his grandpa. Then, all of a sudden, his eyes light up red and he punches Superman. Superman lands after being punched about 10 yards away from Jordan. Superman looks up and sees Jordan's eyes, which are lit up red, and an evil smile comes across his face. He then says in a deep, menacing voice, which Superman recognizes, "There's that weakness, Kal-El." Superman gets up and says, "Zeta, you did this to my son." Zeta responds by saying that he is the perfect vessel. Superman, in an angry tone, yells back at him, saying he's only a child. Zeta says he possesses the power of a Kryptonian and the ease, weak mind of a human. He tells Superman he will mold both minds into proper greatness. Superman says to him that you're a monster. Zeta, in the body of Jordan, strikes Superman 3 times, and Superman doesn't counter his strikes, fearing that he will hurt or possibly kill Jordan. At the DoD compound, Morgan Edge builds up his eradicating blue energy. As he does, the DoD get people back as far away as possible. Lana, Kyle, Sarah, and Jonathan help get the people of Smallville to safety. Zeta keeps striking Superman, and Superman catches both of his hands, trying to keep him from striking him, telling Jordan to stop. Jordan briefly comes back and says to Superman, "Dad, please help me, I don't want to die." Superman tells him to hold on, but then Zeta comes back and strikes Superman once again. Zeta tells Superman that he sacrificed his only son to save Krypton, and you don't even have the strength to strike yours. As the fight continues, both of them go airborne over the volcano, hitting the lava inside several times, and they both end up on the other side of the volcano's edge. Back in Smallville, Lois shows up and finds Jonathan, and she tells them that she has backup coming, and John Henry Irons flies in towards Morgan Edge and arms a missile on his suit, which is another red solar flare missile, and he fires it at Morgan Edge, but with the blue energy surrounding him, the missile has no effect. John Henry Irons realizes it didn't work and tries to engage in Edge, but can't due to the cocoon of energy surrounding him. It damages part of his suit, and Irons falls to the ground. As he hits the ground, his AI tells him his suit power is down to 50%. Several of the DoD soldiers try to engage Morgan Edge, but he uses the blue energy he has and eradicates them, turning them against the humans. Back on the volcano, Zeta has Superman pinned to the ground, and he hears what is happening in Smallville, and he tells Superman that there is nothing he can do now, that the Defense Council of Krypton has now risen. Zeta then flies off into the sky. Morgan Edge uses X-Kryptonite and finishes the eradication process of the Defense Council of Krypton, and the soldiers he eradicated fly off into the sky with him. Superman returns to Smallville and lands in the middle of town, seeing Irons, Lois, Jonathan, and the Cushings. As the night ends and the morning dawns, General Lane tells Lois and Chrissy that people need to evacuate Smallville and that everyone needs to leave now. The Cushings come into the DoD tent wondering what is happening now. General Lane tells Chrissy to put out a special edition of the Gazette, use mass email, social media, TV news outlets, anything to get people to leave Smallville. She tells him that she will do it ASAP. The Cushings help spread the word to people to get people to leave Smallville. Sarah asks General Lane if they know anything about Jordan. He tells her not yet, but at the same time reassures her that they have the finest soldiers out there looking for him. In another part of the DoD tent, Superman tells Lois, General Lane, and Jonathan that Zeta Rho was just toying with him. Irons tells them that when he used a solar flare missile before that, it did make a dent, but they don't have any more, and neither does Argus. General Lane tells them that Morgan Edge eradicated 6 of his soldiers, none of who are from Smallville, so their powers won't last very long, and Irons says he must need them temporarily. Jonathan comes into the conversation and says, okay, so there must be something else they can do. Irons says he has a few solar weapons left, plus ones in the barn that Jonathan took and hid. John Henry Irons and Jonathan go back to the barn and see what they have and see how they can use it. General Lane asks Superman, when Zod was in your mind, how tough was he to overcome? Superman looks back at General Lane and tells him nearly impossible. General Lane tells him that he is going to prepare for when Superman finds him or when he finds us. He also says that we will need to know what he wants and when that happens. Superman tells Lois he doesn't know what to do. He says, how do I stop Morgan Edge and Zeta Roll while saving Jordan all at once? Lois tells him he can't and says that is why you need to let me and Jonathan help you. She tells him that he and John Henry Irons can take down Edge and Zeta Row, and she can save Jordan by using the same device that Edge used on him to access his memories. She tells him she can save him. She tells him that the boys are strong like their father, and he looks back at her and says, like their mother. Superman flies around the Earth once again trying to locate Zeta and Tall Row. Back in Smallville at the Gazette, Chrissy is working on a special edition of the paper warning people to leave Smallville. The Cushings are back at their house, and they pack up a few items and leave town. Back at the barn, Irons is working on some of the solar tech, and Jonathan brings in weapons he took. General Lane arrives at the farm to bring Lois the device she needs that Edge used on Superman to access his memories. John Henry Irons puts a solar flare device inside his hammer. Superman arrives back at the farm. Inside the barn, they all discuss the plan of how everything is going to go down. Irons tells them the red solar flare tech inside his hammer plus Edge's kinetic energy should get through the Eradicator's energy and dissipate Tall Row's powers. But he has to throw his hammer from a significant distance. The bad news is they only get one shot at this. Superman says he will handle Edge. Jonathan tells them that these are terrible odds and asks if this is really the plan, and Lois says it's the only plan they have. Superman tells Jonathan that he will be guarding his mother while she tries to save Jordan using a specialized weapon that once belonged to Thaddeus Kilgrave. Lois says you don't use this weapon unless you absolutely have to. Jonathan acknowledges that and understands. Zeta and Tall Row meet up with the Kryptonian Defense Council high up in the clouds. Zeta Row informs them that it is time to restore Krypton. They all fly down to the mines in Smallville where the X-Kryptonite is. Tall Row flies into where the majority of the X-Kryptonite is and starts using his powers and the blue energy all around the X-Kryptonite. Superman hears what's going on, and Irons' AI tells him that he is picking up Kryptonian signatures at the mine. In Smallville, the townspeople are all trying to make their way out of town, causing a traffic jam in the center of town. The Cushings arrive in town and see what is happening. Kyle and Lana get out of the truck and look around at the mass amount of vehicles clogging up the center of town. Back at the farm, Superman and John Henry Irons get ready for battle. Irons says we have terrible odds. Superman agrees and says we have better odds together. They both fly up into the sky and land at the mines, coming face to face with Zeta Row and the Defense Council of Krypton, and they engage in battle. As the battle rages, Superman and Irons do their best to keep the Kryptonians down so they can stop Zeta and Tall Row and end what is happening. One of the Kryptonian council members grabs Superman from behind and gets him to his knees. Zeta Row walks over to him with his eyes lit up red, but before he can do anything, Irons shoots a red solar flare missile and it hits Zeta, knocking him to the ground. Superman gets free and knocks the council member out. Superman says he's got this and tells Irons to go get ready to throw his hammer. Irons grabs the knocked out Jordan and flies him to the barn. As he is flying, the council members fly after him, and so does Superman. Irons' AI tells him that he's used up a significant amount of power using that missile and that it is rerouting power inside his suit. Irons drops Jordan off at the barn and tells them to hurry because he won't be out for long. Lois asks how it's going out there, and Irons tells her a work in progress. Irons then flies off. Lois places one of the devices on Jordan's head and places the other on her head. Jonathan reassures his mom that he's got her covered with the Kilgrave weapon. Lois sits down just a few feet from Jordan and activates the devices. She enters Jordan's mind and memories, navigating her way to find him and wake him up to get Zeta Row out of his head. But Zeta Row does not make it easy for her to find Jordan. Superman flies through the sky with the eradicated soldiers hot on his tail. Tall Ro is making the blue energy field inside the mine bigger using the X-kryptonite. From town, the people, including Kyle, Sarah, and Lana, can see the blue energy field from where they are, and they see it is rapidly growing. Part of the energy field from Tall Ro reaches town and hits a building, blowing part of it up and setting it on fire. The Cushings, as well as other townspeople, run in fear for shelter. More strikes from the energy field hit other buildings in town. Lana and Sarah and others run into the diner for safety. Kyle runs to the building next door, which is on fire because he sees someone trapped inside, and goes to rescue them. Lois continues searching Jordan's mind and memories when she comes across the consciousness of Zeta Ro. He turns and realizes she is inside Jordan's mind, and he tells her that she will never find him and that he's been buried deep inside his subconscious. He says that Jordan is lost forever. Lois tells him that she will find him. He says to her that you don't even know where to look. Then, with a smug smile, he says, "But I know where to find you." In the barn, Jonathan is standing guard. Jonathan turns around and looks at his brother still unconscious and tells him he has to wake up. Jonathan turns back around, and as he does, Jordan, Zeta, awakens and stands up. Jonathan turns around again and sees Jordan on his feet. Jonathan says his brother's name, but is unsure if it's Jordan or if it's Zeta Ro. Jonathan gets happy at first, saying, "Mom did it." Jordan's eyes light up red, and Zeta's voice speaks, saying, "No, she didn't." In town, Lana and Sarah get into the diner and tell others to get down. Sarah sees another energy beam hit the burning building her dad went into, causing an explosion. Sarah stands up and sees her dad carrying an injured woman out of the building. In the barn, as Zeta Ro approaches Jonathan, Jonathan tries to talk him down, but it doesn't work, and he ends up having to use the sonic frequency weapon on him. He shoots Jordan, Zeta, and the beam hits him, sending him back into bales of hay. Jonathan moves in towards him, but Jordan is still not himself, and he rises up from the hay with his eyes still lit up red. Zeta charges at Jonathan and knocks the weapon out of his hands, and then grabs him by the neck and flies up about 10 feet off the floor of the barn. Lois is still in Jordan's mind, trying to locate him to wake him up. She finally locates him in a memory in their house they lived in when they lived in Metropolis after one of his panic attack episodes. She goes to him, telling him that she is here. Jordan tells her he's sorry because he's not strong. He tells her Zeta Ro told him he's weak and pathetic and the weakest of their kind. She looks at him and tells him that is because he knows how strong you really are. He tells her that no, he's not strong, and she tells him he is stronger than any one of them and that he is a fighter. The emotion is pouring out of both of them, and she says to him that she needs him to fight now, fight harder than he ever has before. She tells him to find that strength and to fight to come back to them. All of a sudden, the memories and things he has gone through come rushing back to him. All the progress he has made, he uses to fight off Zeta Ro and kick him out of his mind and body. As Zeta still has Jonathan by the neck, hovering above the barn door, Jonathan is able to utter the words, "I love you," and finally, Jordan comes to and wakes up and sees what is happening. Jordan grabs his brother and embraces him, and Jonathan does the same thing. Lois wakes up and sees her sons floating back down to the ground. She goes to them and hugs them both as they both hug her and each other, still overcome with emotion. As Lois holds them both, she says, "We did it." Superman is still flying, and the Defense Council of Krypton members are still chasing Superman. He flies upwards with them right behind him. They grab onto him. Irons throws his hammer at them, knocking them off of Superman. Irons' AI warns him that his suit power reserves are flatlining and that he only has 8% of power left. He tells Superman he's ready. Irons tells his AI to let him know when Superman is in position. He gets his hammer ready as the AI keeps warning him about his suit's power. Superman flies down toward the Earth at super speed and tells Irons to throw his hammer. Irons throws his hammer down towards the Earth right where Tall Ro is. Superman flies down and grabs Tall Ro from behind, holding him there in position as the hammer hurtles down towards them at a very high velocity. The hammer crashes through the mines and hits Tall Ro, destroying the mines, and the energy field disintegrates. Up in space, John Henry Irons' suit is starting to shut down. His AI tells him, "Complete system failure, power reserves depleted." As John Henry Irons starts to lose consciousness, he starts falling back towards the Earth, and as he does, he says, "We did it, Nat." He remembers the saying they had with each other, "Forged in fire, strong as steel." He has flashbacks to his memories of him and her. John Henry Irons goes unconscious. As he falls through the atmosphere back down to where the sky is blue, Superman catches him. They both land, and Irons regains consciousness and takes his helmet off and says to Superman, "Nice timing." We see shots of Leslie Lar back in the Kryptonite prison cell, and we see Tall Rose still alive, and he says to Superman, "All I wanted was a family cow." Superman says back to him, "You had it. We were brothers." The next day, we see people in town working together to clean up the damage left in Tall Rose's wake. The DoD is packing up the command center in town, plus they're clearing out and cleaning up the mines and removing the ex-Kryptonite out of there. Superman is giving a video interview to the Smallville Gazette, and Chrissy is asking him questions with Lois standing off to the side. Kyle and the Cushings have another barbecue get-together at their house. Lois, Clark, and the boys are there as well, as John Henry Irons is there, and so is General Sam Lane. Some of the football boys are there as well, and Jonathan sees Tegan Wickham there as well. Lois gives Chrissy a check to not sell the Smallville Gazette, and both agree to not sell and to build the Gazette into something great, to be partners. Chrissy is overcome with emotion and agrees with this decision. John Henry Irons and Sam Lane talk, and Irons tells him he got a call from the DoD to see if he would be interested in coming on board, though he wonders why he didn't hear this from Sam first. General Lane tells him he's stepping down from active duty, and his request went through yesterday. He says he wants to focus more on being there for his family. Lois and Irons talk, and she asks what's next for him. He tells her he's probably going to reach out to his sister on this earth and even make contact this time around. She says he and Clark could work together on the farm and do the superhero thing as well. He tells her he appreciates the offer, but he is not sure it would be a good idea, not because of Clark or Superman, but because of Lois, since his wife on his earth was Lois Lane. It doesn't change how he feels, even though she is not her. She tells him that she wants him to be happy, and he tells her he knows, which is why he can't stay. She hugs him and thanks him for everything. Jordan and Sarah go off and talk, and he tells her what he said when Edge took him. He meant it. She looks at him and tells him that she loves him as well, and they both share a kiss and a hug together. The next day, Clark and Lois and the boys have a short funeral out by one of the trees on the farm to bury the red broken Kryptonian crystal used to contact Jor-El at the Fortress of Solitude. After that, Clark and Lois go into the barn and see John Henry Irons off before he leaves. Irons' AI alerts him that some vessel has just linked to his warsuit computer CPU. It tells him that the vessel is approaching the Kent farm at a dangerously high velocity. Clark speeds outside the barn and sees the object approaching. The boys hear it and come outside the house and see it as well. Lois and John Henry Irons come outside the barn and join Clark and the boys. The vessel hits the ground just in front of the house. The door opens, and out of the vessel comes John Henry Irons' daughter, Natalie Irons. They both run to each other and embrace in a big hug. As Natalie and her dad are hugging, Natalie just happens to look up, and her look changes from happy to shocked as she sees her mother's doppelganger, this Earth's version of Lois Lane. She looks at her and says, "Mom?" And Lois just looks back at her, not knowing what to think. This is how Superman and Lois, Season 1, Episode 15, Last Sons of Krypton, the Season 1 finale, ends. Wow, what a great episode and a great way to end the first season of the DC CW TV show Superman and Lois. This show is everything I wanted it to be and so much more. We get lots of comic book Superman action. We got great stories every week. We have great actors and actresses who bring these characters to life in very believable ways. The writing and directing on this show is top of the line. The drama and emotion in this show is outstanding, and at times I believe it was Academy Award Oscar worthy. I know this is a TV show and not a movie, but still, it was that great. Whoever casted Tyler Hoechlin as Superman in the second season of Supergirl knew exactly what they were doing. He is one of the best Supermans we've ever had. Though he still doesn't beat Christopher Reeve, he runs a close second. I would say he's even better than Henry Cavill's DCEU Superman and Brandon Routh from Superman Returns and Crisis on Infinite Earths. But as far as the Lois Lane character, I think the casting of Elizabeth Tulloch was a brilliant move. I love this version of Lois Lane, and I think this is the best version of Lois Lane we've ever gotten on the silver or small screen. I did like Margot Kidder and Amy Adams' Lois Lane portrayals, Erica Durance played a good version of Lois Lane on Smallville as well. But Terry Hatcher, I had issues with her, and there were times I couldn't stand her Lois Lane. But Elizabeth Tulloch's Lois Lane is the best out of all of these ladies so far. I love the characters of Jonathan and Jordan Kent. The boys are awesome. The first few episodes of the season, Jordan got on my nerves with his temper tantrums, but I got to where I really liked him. Just everyone on this show was so great. And also, let's not forget about the guy who plays John Henry Irons. I can't remember his name in real life. I think it's Wool Parks or something like that. He did a great job with his character of John Henry Irons, and the character of Sam Lane. He did great as well. Everyone just was phenomenal on this show. I really liked the Superman score from Supergirl, which was composed and conducted by Blake Neely. But overall, the score for this show is great and just heroic, but yet has a sort of emotional tone to it. Dan Romer has created a great score for this show, but I think it would be cool every once in a while if we heard the Blake Neely Superman theme from Supergirl. What a great way to end the first season with someone who has directed other DC CW TV show episodes. For Superman and Lois' season finale in the director's chair was Tom Cavanaugh, who plays Dr. Harrison Wells, Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash from the DC CW TV show The Flash. He is a great director, actor, and storyteller. I would love to see Tom Cavanaugh actually appear on Superman and Lois as the Reverse Flash. That would be a fun episode. And hell, if they did that, I say go ahead and bring in Grant Gustin's Flash in the same episode, and Superman and the Flash versus the Reverse Flash. That would be a killer episode. One thing I was so glad to see, and that was John Henry Irons reuniting with his daughter Natalie at the end of this episode and at the end of the season. But now that sets up a new dilemma for next season. Though something that is really driving me crazy about this episode after they defeated Tal Rowe and Leslie Lar, we all know they are both still alive, but after they are defeated, we don't find out what happens to them. We are just left kind of hanging in the dark to speculate. Superman should have done what Henry Cavill's Superman did at the end of the 2013 DCEU film Man of Steel. He should have killed Tal Rowe by breaking his neck or something, and the same thing with Leslie Lar, like he did in Man of Steel when he broke Zod's neck and killed him. But I guess the writers are not done with these characters. One thing I've been thinking about is Zeta Rowe. He has a sort of similar look to another villain from one of my favorite movie franchises. He has a look that, in my opinion, looks like and reminds me of Vigo the Carpathian from the 1989 film Ghostbusters 2. I don't know what it is, but for some reason I see some similarities between the two characters and their facial expressions and the look they have. I'm probably just speaking for myself, and I'm probably the only one who sees it, but in my mind, that's what I see. And like I've said in other podcasts, my mind works in very weird ways. Okay, so with all that being said, it is now grading time. So for Superman and Lois, Season 1, Episode 15, Last Sons of Krypton, the Season 1 finale, I'm going to give it an A+. This is the end of Season 1, so now the question is, what would I like to see for next season? Well, for one, I would like to know what happened to Morgan Edge, Tal Rowe, and Leslie Lar. Are they now both powerless? Do they still have their powers? Where are they both now that the storyline has ended? Those are questions I would like to see answered. Part of me was hoping Lois Lane would get her job back at the Daily Planet in Metropolis, but I guess that is not the direction the writers or creators want to go with this series. One thing I would like to see, if they don't do it in a live-action movie in the DCEU, then I would love to see it happen in this show. I would love to see a new, modern, fresh take on the villain Lex Luthor created in the film Superman 4: The Quest for Peace, Nuclear Man. Of course, I would like to see the uniform design very similar to the outfit in Superman 4, just give it a modern, updated design. Yes, I would love to see Nuclear Man be the next villain in Season 2 of this show, if we don't ever see him in another live-action Superman movie. I can't wait to see where Sarah and Jordan's relationship goes, and if Jonathan and Tegan get together. But I'm also wondering if we will see Jonathan acquire powers in Season 2. But that's all I can think of for right now for Season 2. So I'm going to give Superman and Lois Season 1 an official grade. I'm going to give the first season of Superman and Lois a solid A. It was a great first season. I loved it, and I can't wait for season 2. I know whatever it is they have planned for season 2, it will be great. I'm going to end this video by saying, long live Superman.